Can you just talk a little bit about your character and what influences and inspirations you drew from in developing her?
Well, I was a huge fan of Bram Stoker's Dracula and Gothic romance literature in general. So big fan of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Jane Eyre. I feel like the women in those novels are always kind of start off super kind of feminine and passive and go through this kind of mega journey of growth. And so for me, it's those kinds of heroines that I really drew on for our film. And then, of course, knowing that our film was an origin story and it was about pulling apart the myth of Dracula and looking at the man behind this legend and having kind of the story of Vlad Tepes and the history of Vlad Tepes to kind of play with, knowing that he's a man with an extremely violent past and who's capable of extreme violence, and knowing that that was buried inside Luke's character really helped motivate my kind of character's actions.
Uh, how was it collaborating with the director and Luke on kind of finding the humanity in the tale, so to speak?
Well, I think, we spoke a lot about how can we make not only this story more human, but really how can we make it accessible to a contemporary audience. And so we thought about, we took scenes like this scene where you meet Mirena and Ingress when they're getting ready for bed and there's all this chaos and they're play fighting with each other. We wanted to make that feel like, the homes of many people, many people's experience of chaos trying to get their kids ready for bed. And it was those kind of moments of more of a contemporary energy and realness that we felt was important to telling the story.
What were some aspects of working on the film that were rewarding to you either personally or creatively?
Well, I think one of the scenes that I loved the most when I watched the film in its completed form was watching the fall, because the way we shot that, I was on this giant mechanical arm being moved up and down, kind of harnessed to it with blue screen and wind machines blowing. And then when I watched the final film and saw the incredible visual effects that they added to that scene to make it feel real and just so tragic and beautiful, I thought, to me, that was a very interesting example of where we're at in terms of contemporary cinema today. It was about all these layers of collaboration and kind of handing over your work to somebody and having them morph it into something else. It was really cool.
So do you think any of these technical or computer-generated elements, do they present any sort of acting challenges?
It's interesting because sometimes people talk about visual effects like, oh, there's all this anxiety and fear about special effects, but really when you're making a film, you have to suspend your imagination, because there's a million people standing around and a guy with a microphone standing in front of your face and a huge camera there shooting you, and there's all these things challenges that you have to kind of do to overcome your situation and just focus on the connection that you're trying to make with the person in your scene. So for me, it wasn't that challenging.
Excellent. And really quickly, what about this project drew you to work on it?
Well, when I sat down to meet with Gary Shore, he kind of said this is an epic action adventure film, but at the heart of it is this kind of classic love story. And for me, it was this love story, this classic romance that drew me to the project, because so often women in vampire films are suppressing their sexuality or in this forbidden love, and really Vlad and Mirena have this kind of pure, beautiful love for each other, and it's a love that motivates all of the action of the film.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.